Your Excellency, esteemed Gilani, senators, colleagues, friends, welcome. On behalf of the Russian delegation, let me sincerely thank you for the hospitality and wonderful reception you have accorded to us in Pakistan, and for the intense agenda and for this opportunity to address in the Senate. It is a great honor for me. I am glad to once again visit your amazing country, a country with an ancient history and culture, diverse and distinctive traditions. The visit to Islamabad by the parliamentary delegation of the Federation Council of the Senate of the Russian Parliament, this is a new step to strengthen the Russia-Pakistan political and parliamentarian dialogue, which is successfully developing at the top and high levels within the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, other regional and international organizations. I am persuaded that the recent visit by the Prime Minister of the Russian Federation, Mr. Mikhail Mishustin, and the current visit of our delegation will greatly contribute to the further progressive development of cooperation between Russia and Pakistan. The relations between our countries have a long history. Even in most difficult times, Moscow and Islamabad kept up a dialogue. And now we can note with satisfaction that the similarity of our approaches are very close on the majority of international issues. Our countries are interested the same in an Afghan settlement and ensuring Central Asian security. I am persuaded that we shall sustain our mutual understanding on global security and stability, prevention of the placement of weapons in outer space, prohibition of biological, chemical, and toxin weapons, inadmissibility of imposing illegal sanction mechanisms, and all forms of politicization of humanitarian cooperation, including in sports. Russia and Pakistan have consistently promoted a strengthened UN central coordinating role in international relations. In this regard, we welcome and truly support the election of Pakistan to the UN Security Council as a non-permanent member for 2026. It is for the 8th time already that your country plays here, which proves the increasing authority of your country on the global arena. I am persuaded that Pakistan will make a significant contribution to a more efficient Security Council and to the achievement of high goals of global security and peace. We expect that Pakistan's balanced position, your rich experience, and the profound wisdom of your people and its leaders will bring a new perspective when addressing many global problems. This is also evidenced by Pakistan's active participation in the UN peacekeeping missions in many regions of the world. We take full note of Pakistan's interest in deepening cooperation with BRICS, which includes sovereign states representing different continents, models of development, religions, distinctive civilizations and cultures. It has already become a new center of multipolarity, where all participants favor equality, good neighborliness, and mutual respect. The transition from the unipolar to a multipolar world, this is an objective, historic process which no one can stop, including those who are trying to preserve the dominance and to preserve their hegemony. I know that the Senate of Pakistan fully shares these values and seeks their assertion on the international arena. In this regard, we also stand for more intensive interaction between legislators at multilateral fora, including the Interparliamentary Union and the Asian Parliamentary Assembly and other formats. We see a great potential in enhanced cooperation in the formats of parliamentary friendship groups, as well as through specialized committees of the upper houses of our parliaments. Today, with our colleague, with the chairman of the Senate of the National Assembly of Pakistan, signed memorandum on mutual understanding, which laid a legal framework for our parliamentarian interaction and will make our cooperation more systemic. There is another important area in our work, and we are counting very much on the two parliaments' joint work. I mean improving the legal framework for our cooperation. So in this regard, the important work of MPs is difficult to overestimate. Much remains to be done here, including for the progressive development of trade and economic ties. Their diversification, they are based on a solid and time-tested foundation. The Soviet Union, as you know, helped Pakistan to develop its oil and gas industry, build major energy facilities, and supplied agricultural machinery.
In the 1970s and 1980s, the USSR assisted in building the Karachi metallurgical plant. At that time, it became some sort of a symbol of our friendship. Today, we have to modernize this factory, or a new factory plan has to be done. Our specialists are ready to cooperate and to interact with Pakistani authorities. We're waiting for proposals, of course, in case you are interested. These cooperation traditions are now being again relevant for us. In the last year, Russian-Pakistani turnover has grown by more than 50%, and for the first time, it exceeded $1 billion. In January-August, it grew by another 13%. This good dynamics should be supported in every possible way. And to do that, we have a great mutual yet unrealized potential. There are many promising areas for the development of our economic cooperation. I would like to highlight such areas as energy, the agro-industrial complex, among others. Those are areas which were discussed during the meeting of our presidents or heads of states in Ashgabat. And now we should add some substance to these negotiations. Last year, the first shipment of Russian crude oil arrived at the port of Karachi, and already for the full year, its share in Russian exports to Pakistan exceeded 20%. And let me say it again, in case you are interested, we are ready to scale up the supplies of carbohydrates, hydrocarbons. We have increased grain supplies to the Pakistani market. In this regard, I would like to note that despite unfavorable weather conditions, Russian farmers have harvested already over 132 tons of grain. This guarantees Russia's reliability as one of the world's key agricultural exporters. To increase the harvests in Pakistan, we are ready to scale up supplies of mineral fertilizers, modern agricultural machines, and share our modern technology. The topic of the development of international transportation corridors is also relevant for our development. First and foremost, the North-South Transportation Corridor. Pakistan has a very favorable geographical location and has a considerable logistics and transit potential. As far as the North-South Transportation Corridor goes, it contributes to strengthening of relations of countries of the global South, of other countries of the global majority. We're ready to develop it further, and we expect also interest from your part. Maintaining a constructive political dialogue, our countries are consistently pursuing a course for stepped-up cooperation in all areas, including the humanitarian one. When I met with the Speaker of Senate, Mr. Gilani, and with Mr. Sadiq, the Speaker of the National Assembly, and the esteemed President of Pakistan, we talked at length about developing our cooperation in education, culture, and other areas of humanitarian cooperation. To my mind, I think that these areas are lagging behind in comparison with our economic and business ties. At the same time, we can say that our bilateral cooperation in culture and sports is being developed, is being revived. One of the greatest poets, one of our greatest friends, wrote in Urdu, Faiz Ahmad Faiz. He translated Rasul Gamzatov's poetry, wrote about Russian great poet Alexander Pushkin, as well as about the heroic defenders of my native hero city of Leningrad. Russia and Pakistan can learn a lot from each other. They can enrich each other's cultures and open new horizons for our friendship. That's what Faiz Ahmad Faiz wrote about. We are developing our cooperation in science and education. We can notice progress in the bilateral agenda in the field of higher education, the recognition of diplomas and academic degrees. Friendly ties are being established between young people. We're glad that the Pakistani delegation has taken part in the World Youth Festival in the city of Sochi. More and more Russians are showing interest in Pakistan. I would like to note that the recent abolition of the visa fee by your country should have a positive effect on the tourist flow, including from Russia. And of course, the agenda includes opening direct flights between our countries and between our cities, which will give even more impetus to our tourist exchange. It has a very considerable economic significance and a very important human dimension. It strengthens our friendship and helps our citizens to learn more about history and culture of each other. The Federation Council, our relevant committees, advisory and expert bodies, pay great attention to the topic of interfaith and interethnic relations. In our legislative work, we, Russian MPs, are guided by traditional spiritual values. I know that these important issues are also permanently in the focus of your attention. That's a good foundation for exchanging legislative experience among us. Parliaments play a responsible role in maintaining dialogue with faiths and religious leaders. Russian legislators, together with religious institutions, strive to preserve traditional spiritual and moral values, protect the family, motherhood, and childhood. Thus, in Russia, this year has been proclaimed the Year of the Family. Russia has historically emerged and developed as a state civilization with a multinational and multi-confessional people. In my country, there are more than 200 nations and ethnicities, and people of different faiths, different confessions, different ethnicities, speaking different languages, live in peace and agreement and in harmony. The Islam is an integral part of our country. We have more than 20 million Muslims in our country. The Muslim Ummah is an integral part of our society. It's making a huge contribution to maintaining peace and harmony, defending the fatherland, preserving cultural diversity, and strengthening the institution of family and educating youth. Here in Pakistan, I am especially pleased to feel the respect shown to women. It is nice to see female senators in this room. I know that the Constitution of Pakistan, whose half-century anniversary was celebrated last year, guaranteed the representation of women in Parliament. And this is very important, this is great. The number of places for women is steadily growing. Today they are significantly represented in both federal and provincial assemblies. It is important that a huge number of Pakistani women have broad access to education, politics, and social activities. Historically, as elsewhere, it was not easy. A striking example is the fate of the first female Prime Minister of Pakistan and the Muslim world, Benazir Bhutto. She wrote in her autobiography, Daughter of the East, published also in Russian, she wrote that politics was a difficult area of effort for a woman in any society. We always have to prove that we are not weaker than men, we have to work harder and longer and make a lot of sacrifices. I think it was true for women in different countries, but now we see the situation improve, and I'm very glad to see the same thing happening in Pakistan. We had a lot in common. Dear colleagues, Russia and Pakistan are federal states. Parliaments in both Russia and Pakistan are bicameral. I know that your chamber, the Senate, is also called the Federation Chamber. Once again, bearing in mind the federal structure of your state, I know our Federation Council is also called the Chamber of Regions. We pay significant attention to the development between our regions and foreign partners. We see a growing interest to expand cooperation with Pakistani regions. Very promising for us are very tight interregional connections. St. Petersburg and Sindh province. In 2017, there was an agreement signed for closer cooperation. I think that we parliamentarians should support this line and to continue developing ties between other regions. We will give any support that is needed, and I would like also to ask you for support in this regard. We have similar goals, joint tasks and plans in many ways, so there will be joint actions. I would like to thank the Senate, the National Assembly of Pakistan, all the senators. And I would like to address Mr. Gilani, His Excellency, the Speaker of the Senate. I would like to thank you for contributing greatly in strengthening and developing of bilateral ties between our countries. These relations work on a mutually beneficial and mutually respectful footing. There is no minor or major partner. We respect sovereignty, traditions and culture of Pakistan and history, and we feel the same coming from the Pakistani side. We fully count on further work to develop cooperation between Russia and Pakistan for the benefit of our countries and peoples. Our meeting started with the national anthem of Pakistan. The national anthem starts with words. Starts with the following words: "Be blessed, sacred land of Pakistan." I would wish every family and every person wealth, happiness, and health. Бохот шукрия, Пакистан, Руси дости зиндабад. То.
आतिश न्यूज, पाकिस्तान के सबसे बड़े न्यूज नेटवर्क का हिस्सा बनने का सुनहरी मौका। मुल्क भर से दर्ज झील आसामियों की जरूरत है। ब्यूरो चीफ, डेप्यूटी ब्यूरो चीफ, वीडियो एडिटर, सिटी रिपोर्टर, तहसील रिपोर्टर, डिस्ट्रिक्ट रिपोर्टर, क्राइम रिपोर्टर, प्रेस रिपोर्टर, नुमाइंदा, नामह नगार। चीफ एग्जीक्यूटिव सैयद जमशेद बुखारी। मजीद मालूमात के लिए इन नंबर्स पर राबिता करें।